Before I start the video, yes, this is the Ford Escort RS1600i that was featured in Bangers and Cash back in 2022. It's Series 5, Episode 6, if you fancy going back and having a look at the car pre-restoration. Now, this RS1600i was bought originally by the then owner in 2001, and well, here's the original Auto Trader advert. The car at that point had done 104,000 miles, and just look at the price. And shortly after being purchased, well, the car, it experienced a fault and was taken off the road and put in the garage. This garage in North Wales, and it stayed there for 19 years. Here it is in 2020, clearly requiring some restoration. Derek Mathewson actually collected the car himself, and he took it back to the Mathewsons auction house in North Yorkshire. And that's where the RS1600i was sold in the November 2020 sale, and it went well over its guide price of $5,000 and the 10,000 estimates that have been placed on the car to achieve £13,750 plus auction fees. Then the car was off to Surrey to be fully restored by the buyer, who was a former mechanic. I'm sure you will agree, the car turned out, well, brilliantly, and I hope you enjoy the video. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, for more than, well, 5 decades, Ford have been turning their everyday cars, their transport for the masses, into some of the most desirable, some of the most sought after performance cars around. And well, we Brits, we absolutely love them. Wearing badges such as XR, S, Racing and ST. And well, buyers in their masses have been flocking to Ford to get behind the wheel of what we now know, what now are universally called fast Fords. Now, over these 5 decades, there's one badge that stands out, one badge that's worn by the hottest variant of these fast Fords, one that Ford enthusiasts, well, they aspire to own, they stretch themselves very often to own, and when they get one, well, they obsess about their lovely machines. And what's that badge? Well, of course, it's Rally Sport, it's RS. And I cannot put into words why, to a Ford fan, a fast Ford, well, is such an appealing thing. More so, really, than to anyone who's an enthusiast about any of the other car brands. For fast Fords, for Ford owners, well, these things are an obsession. And if you too are afflicted by the same condition as I am, well, all you need do is take a look at this stunning 1983 Ford Escort RS1600i, and well, you'll get it. I've actually had this car now for, well, just over a week, and I'm in the middle of arranging its sale. In fact, at the end of this video, this car is off to its new owner, so do stay tuned for that. But, well, I've just been so impressed with this car that I had to share it with you. I've been impressed with the way this car looks, with the high standard of this car's restoration, but most of all, it's the way this 1.6 litre twin-coil fuel-injected Mark III Escort drives. It's out of this world. So please stay tuned to this video because I'm going to show you this car, and stay tuned to the end because, well, as I said, this car's going off to its new owner, and I'm actually taking another Ford RS back in part exchange. And well, if this video does well enough, if it gets enough likes, if it gets some comments, if it gets some shares, well, I'll be certain to feature the RS that's coming back in part exchange against this one in the next video. So please do hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to see more on fast Fords and all my other cars. And do leave me a comment. What are your thoughts on the RS1600i? I'm really fortunate to already own 3 RSs. I own my 2016 Ford Focus RS, my 2003 Ford Focus RS, and my 1991 Ford Sierra Sapphire RS Cosworth. And I love them. But if I'm honest, I've had very little experience with some of the older RS models. And that's why I jumped at the chance at spending a week with this 1983 RS1600i. As I say, I've been really, really impressed. Look, the RS badge, which is reserved for the hottest versions of Ford's performance cars, often those that are destined for motorsport. Well, the RS badge has been worn by many of Ford's small cars, the Escort and the Focus, both of which now, of course, are discontinued. In fact, if my count is right, I think 17 cars have worn the RS badge across the 6 generations of Escort and the 4 generations of the Ford Focus. It started in 1970 with the Ford Escort RS1600 and the same year the Escort Mexico. Then in 1973 we had the Escort RS2000. In 1975 the Ford Escort RS1800 and a Mark II Escort, what a beautiful thing that is. And of course in 1975 we also had the Escort RS Mexico. Just a year later, in 76, the RS2000 followed with those iconic quad headlights, absolutely stunning. And in 1980 came the Ford Escort RS1700i, a prototype with only 17 made. And actually, here's a picture of my son sat in one. In 1981 came the Ford Escort RS1600i, and in 1984 came the Ford Escort RS Turbo, the Series 1. And in 86 came the Ford Escort RS Turbo Series 2. Then in 1991 came the return of the Escort RS2000. And in 92, the Ford Escort RS Cosworth. Wow. Then in 93 came the Ford Escort RS2000 4x4, and the Escort RS2000 in both 2- and 4-wheel drive continued into the Mark VI as well. 2002 came the Ford Focus RS. Then in 2009 came the Ford Focus RS, and then in 2016 came the Ford Focus RS. Wow, what an incredible lineup, what an incredible heritage. And actually, that was the final Ford RS model, the Ford Focus RS Heritage in 2018. Will we ever see another Ford RS? I don't know. But what I do know is that slap bang in the middle of that impressive list of Escort and Focus RSs is the Escort RS1600i, a car that was launched in Europe in September 1981, with production ending in July 1983. Now, Ford had originally intended to produce 5,000 of these cars for homologation purposes, but these sold well. So 8,659 RS1600i's were actually produced, with 2,600 of them coming over to the UK. Now it's under here where the Escort RS1600i really differs from Ford Special Vehicle Engineering's, or SVE's, Ford Escort XR3. And well, that's with this modified CVH engine. The 1.6 litre CVH, or compound valve angle hemispherical engine, which is fitted with the Bosch K-Jectronic fuel injection. And along with the fuel injection, the RS1600i has a unique AFT twin coil setup, giving this car a 115 brake horsepower output. That's 20 brake horsepower more than the XR3. And this RS1600i engine was good for over 160 brake horsepower in Group A Rally Escort form. And whilst I'm under here, well, the RS1600i has Mathewsons struts, it has a thicker anti-roll bar, and it has a special aluminium crossmember. And this particular RS1600i, well, this benefits from having had a very recent full nut and bolt restoration. Well, it's absolutely perfect. I mean, under here, the car looks brand new. Other things that set the RS1600i apart from the XR3, well, that's the front and rear spoilers, which were unique to this model. Also, the awesome and very 80s graphics, and these 15-inch RS alloy wheels. And these cars were produced in 6 colours, and I believe black was the most common. They were made in sunburst red, in diamond white, in Caspian blue, in graphite grey, and strato silver, which is the colour of this car. This being one of the rarest colours, only 250 made in strato silver. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? Now, if you were back in the early 80s and you were looking to buy yourself an RS1600i new, well, it wasn't just the colour that you had to choose. These cars came with 9 possible options, and well, I need to read them to you. So you could go in and order your RS1600i with a tilt and slide glass sunroof, with electric windows, with central locking, with tinted glass, with opening rear quarter windows, with different radios and with rear seat belts. And there was also an executive pack, and that included a combination of a sunroof, an electric aerial, and the RST21P radio stereo cassette. Very nice too. But one thing that wasn't an option, thank goodness, is these awesome, these fantastic shark grey velour Ford RS sports seats, which are absolutely stunning in their design. And boy, do they hold you in place when you're driving this wicked car. Well, on the subject of driving this car, should we take it for a short drive? It's quite late in the afternoon, and while we've had a fairly wet day, these aren't the conditions to be driving a fully restored car. But I've got to take it out and give you a sense of what this car's like to drive. And this is my last day with the car. As I say, we're loading this up in a minute, and I'm delivering this car tomorrow morning to the new owner, and of course collecting that other RS, so stay tuned for that. But sat here now, well, in these lovely seats, and I've put the camera at a certain angle so you can just see and enjoy the seats, but sat here in these lovely seats, well, with this 4-spoke RS steering wheel, and with the rev counter that starts right round at about 5 o'clock as you look at it, well, you know you're sat in something really, really special. And well, I don't know if it's because this is a restored car, I don't know, but God, this car feels so tight, so well put together. And well, it feels so quick. Genuinely, this car feels fast. That 115 brake horsepower, I mean, you probably get that in, well, the lowest engine car that you can buy right now. But in this lightweight 80s hot hatch, it feels absolutely fantastic, and it's such a shame that we've caught up here with some traffic. So I might turn around in a minute and keep going back. This 5-speed gearbox feels really nice as well. It's a lovely car. I really could drive this car every day. God, it's lovely. There's a nice quirk with this car too. You've got 2 lights that are either side of 70 miles an hour on the speedometer, and I believe that they are fuel efficiency lights to kind of warn the spirited driver back in the 1980s that they might be burning a little bit more fuel than they would otherwise be comfortable. I have no idea what they're telling me. When I ease off the throttle, they come on, and when I accelerate again, they disappear. But it's a nice period feature. This really is a lovely car, and I feel so privileged to have experienced it. But remember what I said, this car's going to a new owner, so it's time for me to turn around, get out of this traffic. We've got a Morris Minor in front. Get out of this traffic and drive it back, put it on the loader, and tomorrow morning take it to Colin, the new owner. I shall certainly be sad to see it go. God, it's so much fun. I don't think that came across earlier in the video, so I thought I'd do one more blast down this road in an RS1600i. exhaust note, I mean, it's just brilliant. It's brilliant, brilliant. If you get the chance to drive an RS1600i, take it. God dear, what a car. Right, last one, then it's got to go up on the truck. The RS1600i has limited use in motorsport, but as far as I'm concerned, it's an out-and-out winner on the road. This car is simply fantastic. Well, if I had the money, I'd be keeping it and continuing to enjoy it myself. Now, I said earlier in the video that I hadn't had a great deal of experience with pre-1985 RS cars. Well, if this is something to go by, they're brilliant. I think it's because of cars like this, so those same ingredients being applied to all the RS models that came before and after, that make these RS models just so special and so loved by everyone who's a Ford enthusiast. Just wow. Now it's loaded up on the truck because, as I said, it's off now to a new owner. This car has been sold, and I'm picking up another Ford, another RS, and it's an Escort. And if you want to see that car, you can come back to the next video, so subscribe to the channel and follow, well, what I'm replacing this for on the Transporter. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next. Bye for now. Bye bye.